John Stuart Mill is one of the most important defenders of individual liberty in the modern liberal tradition. Writing in the 19th century, Mill confronted a new challenge, the rise of mass democracy and social conformity. Unlike earlier liberals who feared monarchs, Mill feared majorities. His seminal work, On Liberty, 1859, addresses a fundamental question. How can individual freedom be preserved in a society governed by popular opinion? The harm principle, the moral boundary of authority. Mill's most famous contribution is the harm principle, which establishes a strict limit on the legitimate use of power. The only purpose for which power can be rightfully exercised over any member of a civilized community against his will is to prevent harm to others. This principle applies not only to government, but also to social pressure and public opinion. Mill insisted that neither the state nor society has the right to coerce individuals simply because their behavior is immoral, unpopular, or offensive. Crucially, Mill rejected paternalism. Individuals may make poor choices, adopt unhealthy lifestyles, or hold false beliefs, but unless those actions harm others, coercion is unjustified. Liberty and individual development for Mill, liberty is not merely a protective barrier, it is a condition for human flourishing. Freedom allows individuals to experiment with ways of living, develop their faculties, and discover truth through experience. A society that suppresses individuality may achieve order, but it sacrifices progress. Mill famously argued that even eccentricity serves a social function, challenging stagnant norms and preventing intellectual stagnation. Thus, liberty has both personal and social value. Freedom of expression, truth through contestation. Mill's defense of freedom of speech is among the most influential in political philosophy. He argued that suppressing expression is harmful, regardless of whether the silenced opinion is true or false. If an opinion is true, silencing it robs society of truth. If an opinion is false, contesting it strengthens understanding of the truth. If an opinion is partially true, suppression prevents intellectual refinement. Mill emphasized that truth emerges through open debate, not authority. Even widely accepted beliefs become dead dogma if they are never challenged. This argument directly addresses the danger of democratic conformity. A society that silences dissent may remain democratic in form while becoming intellectually authoritarian in substance. Tyranny of the majority. Mill expanded earlier liberal concerns about tyranny by identifying social tyranny, the coercive force of public opinion, as a greater threat than legal repression in democratic societies. Unlike laws, social pressures are often invisible and informal, making them harder to resist. Mill warned that when society enforces conformity, liberty erodes even without state action. This insight complements Tocqueville's analysis and reinforces liberalism's concern with protecting minority viewpoints. Conclusion. John Stuart Mill articulated one of the most powerful defenses of liberty in modern political thought. Through the harm principle and his defense of free expression, he established moral limits on both state authority and social coercion. Mill's legacy lies in his insistence that freedom is not merely compatible with democracy, it is endangered by it unless actively protected. His work remains foundational for liberal arguments about speech, individuality, and the moral boundaries of power.